You are listening to a selection from A Moment in the Wood by Joshua Harwood. Copyright 2015. Read by Aamir Malik. Prologue. It was a dark and stormy night. The waves crashed along the shoreline as Edward clung to the rigging of the sinking ship. With a knife clasped tightly in his teeth, he scrambled up the ropes, desperately seeking the higher ground of the mast. Below him, the water had already sloshed over the railings of the boat as the deck disappeared below the near-freezing surface of the sea. But it was not the water's icy grip that Edward feared. No, thought Edward, sinking is the least of my worries. Suddenly, a barnacle-covered tentacle burst free from the water. Surging up through the air, it grabbed Edward's ankle. Edward grimaced in pain as the slick green suckered arm tugged at his leg, trying to yank him from the mast. Quickly, he pulled the knife from between his teeth and slashed determinedly at the tentacle. The arm recoiled, flailed around in the air, and flipped ooze everywhere, ooze that looked like purple snot splattering Edward. A few droplets landed on his lips. Edward spit in disgust, trying to rid his mouth of a flavor that reminded him of rotten lemons. Far below, Edward could hear the sea monster shriek in pain and fury, but he knew it was going to take a lot more than a little cut to stop this beast. Edward gazed down into the murky abyss, trying to get a better look at what he was facing. To his horror, he saw 20 or more of the monster's arms wrap themselves around the boat and begin to squeeze tightly. If the ship were crushed, the mast would tumble into the sea, carrying him into the icy depths. Edward knew he needed to think of something quickly or face certain death. He only had one chance. Leaning out as far as he could, he pushed all his weight to the left. This might just work. It had to. Just then, out of nowhere, an apple fell from the sky and hit him on the head. "Ow!" yelped Edward. Knocked off balance, he began to fall. He reached out for anything to catch himself. His fingers caught a tree branch. He clung to it for dear life. Slightly stunned, he blinked and looked around. Gone were the ship, the icy waters, and the ferocious beast with its angry, oozing tentacles. They all fell away, trapped between the pages of the book that imprisoned them, and landed with a thump in the grass below. As he steadied himself, Edward looked down and rubbed his head where the apple had struck him. Oh man, that was the best part of the book, even if it was a bit cliché, he moaned. Edward gazed up into the tree, searching for other apples that just might happen to be aimed at his head, and so it happened that he didn't notice the sound of shuffling footfalls of someone approaching his tree from down the path, a second apple in hand. End prologue.